Part 112. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1111. Chapter 1111. There is a flaw in your plan. Xia Ying smiled. This smile made Xiao Ran baffled that this girl could still laugh. Humph, she wanted to see how Xia Ying planned to excuse herself after it was so obvious this time. Xiao Ran, you are just asking me to be charged with attempted murder for such baseless talk, isn't it too hasty? Xia Ying raised the knuckles of her index fingers and touched the wings of her nose. She curved her mouth and continued, besides, everyone knows that I, Xia Ying, have never been in the entertainment industry. No matter how famous you are now, you can't threaten me. What's more, I'm not the kind of person who kills people casually. Xiao Ran, everyone knows that you and I don't get along. If you deliberately pointed it out to me, then I can also say that you framed me first, and then you didn't. Are you careful if I see through it and end up harming you? Xiao Ran narrowed his eyes and snorted, it's ridiculous, Xia Ying, who knows if you have any unknown plans? After making this movie, can you guarantee that you will not make other movies in the future? Then it has nothing to do with you. In short, I will tell you that if you don't have evidence, you can't pin such a crime on me. I believe the teacher also taught you in kindergarten that everything depends on evidence, right? Xia Ying and Xiao Ran were talking to each other very lively, and everyone around them was confused. Isn't there a possibility that this is just a small accident? Why, they seemed to be insisting on fighting over who would win and who would lose, and in their mouths, it was either her hand or the others. Could it be that there is no possibility for others to suspect? Okay, if you two continue to quarrel, can we still shoot the scene today? Director Wang was angry. In all his years of making movies, he had never encountered such a troublemaking crew and actors. Every day it was either this or that, the first and second female lead, who were breaking the news. Director, don't you plan to investigate today's matter? What if this happens again in the future? Who dares to film such a dangerous scene? Xiao Ran has an attitude of not pursuing the truth and achieving no goal. He is very tough. This matter will be investigated, and I will ask professionals to handle it. As for you, just fulfill your responsibilities as actors and come and film for me properly. Wang Deye speaks righteously. I know the director. Xia Ying answered, slightly curling her lips. Xiao Ran rolled his eyes disdainfully, then walked aside and called Qiao Nan. Qiao Nan had just finished the meeting, and when he saw Xiao Ran's phone call, he thought he was coming to report the good news that Xia Ying was injured and hospitalized. Who knew that as soon as he answered the phone, the person on the other end immediately started yelling, Qiao Nan, are your people all trash? Why does Xia Ying know our plan? Do you know that is planning to frame me today? Qiao Nan blocked her ears with her other hand and frowned deeply. After a while, she replied, how is that possible? My people are all professionals and it is impossible to leak anything. I have told you not to act too excited. What nonsense are you talking about? It's obviously your own plan that didn't work. I wasn't there at all and didn't say anything. In short, it couldn't be my problem. Xia Ying already knew that there was a flaw in your plan. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1112. Chapter 1112. Lan 11's engagement ceremony is cancelled. Xiao Ran. Qiao Nan was angry, I've made it very clear, it's not my problem, there can't be any problem with my plan, everything has been prepared, and when things suddenly go wrong, that's your own problem, I can't help you now. Qiao Nan, you. Before Xiao Ran finished speaking, Qiao Nan hung up the phone angrily and stopped arguing with Xiao Ran. Qiao Nan, who hung up the phone, also had one head and two big heads. He thought he could just sit back and enjoy the success. Who knew that something like this would go wrong? This made him curious about what kind of ability the Xia Ying had, to be able to spy on such a carefully arranged matter. Xiao Ran was even more angry. He stayed in his RV and smashed things. That's what Xiao Ran is like. When he's angry, he likes to smash things casually. Therefore, the things around her are often replaced, and they don't last long. It took Xiao Ran a while to calm down. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Xiao Ran's assistant went to open the door and found that the person standing outside the door was none other than Xia Ying. "Miss Xia Ying, what's the matter?" the assistant asked. Before Xia Ying could say anything, Xiao Ran immediately stood up from the sofa chair and walked towards Xia Ying menacingly. Xiao Ran's eyes were red with anger, and her shoulders were shaking uncontrollably, which was in sharp contrast to the calm Xia Ying opposite her. "Why are you here? Are you looking at my jokes?" "It's just by the way." Xia Ying had a sarcastic smile on her lips. Xiao Ran could hear the veins on his neck jumping. "Heh, I'm telling you, Xia Ying, don't be complacent, I will trip you up one day." "I'm just waiting, I'm afraid you won't be able to wait for this day." Xia Ying said with a cold face, "My scene is finished, it's your turn." Xia Ying finished speaking and turned to leave. Xiao Ran was still shouting behind Xia Ying, "Just wait and see." Xia Ying rolled her eyes and ignored it. Xia Ying's assistant asked softly, "If she frames you again, call the police." "She is now being protected by Qinsha, so what's the use of calling the police? Besides, she doesn't have the ability to hurt me." Xia Ying's expression remained unchanged and her breath was calm. The assistant then fell silent. There is a scandalous news that has been circulating among the elite circles of the imperial capital recently. The protagonist of the news is none other than the notorious Second Young Master Fu. Second Young Master Fu was a man of a romantic nature, and he had ruined many innocent girls, but unfortunately, because of his background, he later kept them secret. But in the imperial capital, no one doesn't know how rotten his reputation is. However, recently, it is said that Second Young Master Fu has gone insane and hides away from women when he sees them, as if he has seen a ghost. Not only other women, but even his own mother cannot see him. Whenever he sees a woman, he murmurs words such as, "I was wrong, don't come over." The Fu family took him to see many psychiatrists, but they were unable to do anything. Due to the sudden situation of Second Young Master Fu, naturally, the engagement ceremony with Lan 11 was also cancelled. Although Lan 11 didn't say it openly, she knew very well in her heart that it must be Rong Ci who did it. Rong Ci said that he would help her, and that he would not let her marry Second Young Master Fu. Now, he really did it. Lan 11 wanted to go and thank Rong Ci in person, but when she went to find Rong Ci, she was told that Rong Ci had already left. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1113. Chapter 1113. I know your purpose of approaching me. Your mother said that Rong resigned and went to find Jun Chennai. She didn't know when she would come back, and she didn't know if she would come back. Lan 11 returned to Ian's house full of worries and was ridiculed by Lan Hua. Originally, if nothing unexpected happened, Lan 11 was going to marry Second Young Master Fu. Who knew that if something like that happened now, she would not be able to get married, and she would have to stay at home like this all the time. She got angry just looking at it. Lan 11 knew that Lan Hua deliberately made her unhappy and spoke sourly and harshly, but she had long been used to it and learned to be patient, so she kept silent and did not compete with her head on. Lan 11 thought that maybe Rong Ci was right. She really couldn't stay in this family anymore. Although this time the incident was successfully resolved because of Rong Ci's help, what about next time? The next time she is needed, her family will push her into the fire without hesitation for the sake of the family's interests. She should really find a chance to escape. Lan 11 thought this, and silently looked at the hanging moon in the sky, seeming to feel something. It was already late at night when Rong Si came back. As soon as he entered the house, Rong Si's keen vigilance told him that there was someone in the house. Rong Si's face suddenly darkened. He measured his body, but without turning on the light, he faced the darkness in front of him and said sharply, "Who?" The next second, the light was turned on, and Rong Si was tapped on the shoulder. Rong Si turned around, and the man quickly sat on the sofa, looking at Rong Si with a smile on his face. "What are you doing here?" Rong Si raised his eyebrows, a little surprised. The weak smile on Hami Melon's face disappeared immediately. "Hey, what you said, at least I have helped you with a big thing, why can't I come to your house for a visit?" Ignoring him, he sat down casually. He stared at the cups on the coffee table and said, "The tea is on the coffee table. You can pour it yourself." A cold tone. Hami Melon rolled his eyes and said, "You really don't understand the style. If I had known, I wouldn't have helped you. You did a good job in this matter. I will remember it. If you need help in the future, just ask." Rong Si raised her eyes to look at him. "That's not necessary. Hamigu, generally don't like to ask for help." Hamigawa smiled, crossed his legs and looked leisurely and contented. "Hey, what does the little girl you are helping have to do with you?" Rong Si paused. "When did you become such a gossip?" Hamigawa scratched her head and smiled. "I'm just curious. That girl is pretty good looking. If it has nothing to do with you, I can chase her." "You dare?" Rong Si interrupted. Hami Melon was startled and curled his lips. "Hey, are you really a lenient person? If you pursue me, I will tell Kinsha that you can be friends with me in private." Rong Si's slow and leisurely words frightened Hamigawa. "Now our shadow hunters and you Kinsha are mortal enemies. If your gang leader knew that your Kinsha's #1 killer is now secretly colluding with the shadow hunters, what would happen? Do you think you are betraying me?" I said, "Why do you do such a mean thing?" Hami Melon rolled his eyes. "I know your purpose in approaching me." Rong Si stared at the cantaloupe. Hami Melon stopped drinking tea and looked up at Rong Si. "What do you mean?" End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 1114. Chapter 1114. Chapter 1125 Can be killed but cannot be scared to death. Your Kinsha's biggest enemy right now is Yu Lingfeng. Even your gang leader can't do anything to this person, so you want to have a good relationship with me and take the opportunity to get information about Yu Lingfeng. Rong Si snorted softly, and then said, "How powerful your gang leader is, and he can't even hurt Yu Lingfeng in the slightest. So you guess, this person is definitely not simple. I have dealt with Yu Lingfeng, I have also investigated him and know some things about him, so you want to know these things from my mouth, right?" Hamigawa was stunned for a moment, then suddenly smiled and said, "You Rong Si is indeed a top agent. I just took action and already let you know the truth of the incident." Speechless, the expression on his face remained calm. Everything was as he expected, and there was nothing surprising. "Now that you know my intentions, why do you still let me stay here?" Hami-guo drank the water lightly, raising his head from time to time and looking at Rong Si. "Because, even if I tell you everything I know, it won't help. You can't do anything about him. He is 100 times more complicated than what you see and think. At that time, he investigated Yu Lingfeng for so long and then stopped. There was a reason for all this. He reluctantly carried out the mission and never failed. Only with Yu Lingfeng did he taste the taste of defeat. If you didn't tell me, I would have found out. People have weaknesses. I don't believe that Yu Lingfeng is really that omnipotent. Hami Melon's usually gentle face turned gloomy. For Kincha, Yu Lingfeng must die. He killed Kincha's capable subordinates, insulted their Kincha gang leader, and interfered in their Kincha's affairs again and again. The sum of these three things was enough for him to die 10,000 times. It's true that he has weaknesses, but his weaknesses are more than enough to deal with you. I advise you to stop as soon as possible, so as not to completely ruin Kincha. Hami Melon looked determined when he saw Rong Si, and it didn't look like he was joking. However, he was still unwilling to give in. The Kincha people are naturally proud. The more challenging it is, the less they can back down. Thousands of people in Kincha can be killed by others, but they must not be scared to death by themselves. Humph, just wait and see. Kincha has been able to survive for so many years, not just by fighting and killing. After Hami Melon finished speaking, he stood up and left. The corners of Rong Si's mouth gradually raised, and his expression was thought-provoking. At that time, he was thinking the same thing. In Rong Si's eyes, Yu Lingfeng has always been a mysterious existence. He obviously killed someone, but he could get away with it. He is clearly a monster, but he can be revered. Ha, that's ridiculous. He actually wants to know how Qiansha plans to deal with Yu Lingfeng. Inside the castle, Yu Lingfeng has been shutting himself in the study these days. 11 Ju has not seen him a few times and has no idea what he has been doing recently. However, Yu Lingfeng would go to Xiaoying every night, and every time he went, he would carefully adjust his expression. 11 Ju clearly knew that Yu Lingfeng was disguising, but he couldn't expose it. Master, what are you thinking about? Zihu also tentatively asked Yu Lingfeng if he was leaving. Yu Lingfeng sternly replied to 11 Ju and told him not to think so wildly, but if it wasn't going home, what would it be? End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1115. Chapter 1115. Maybe it's another national song. 11 Ju has been in a trance lately and doesn't go out much. Every time Qianyins invites 11 Ju to play somewhere, 11 Ju always gives various reasons to shirk the invitation and refuses to go out with him. This made Qianyins start to feel a sense of crisis, wondering if 11 Ju had someone behind his back, or that 11 Ju was tired of him. The final result is that Qianyins posts some lyrical and sad words about spring and autumn on Weibo every day. Every time he has a vague meaning, he will be speculated by various media, and then he will be searched on the internet in various ways. Of course, there are also many people who guessed correctly and felt that there was something wrong with Qianyin's love life. Ordinary fans will jump out to support their idols when their idols have problems in their love lives, but Qianyin's fan style is very unique. There are various questions under the comments about when they broke up, and whether they plan to have a girlfriend. Probably because Qianyin's girlfriend has too many fans, and Qianyin's prefers boys. If they break up this time, his girlfriend's fans can still have sex. All sorts of inexplicable feelings that Qianyin's is his. Of course, Zihu also read Qianyin's Weibo posts, but had no time to pay attention to them. Now he only focuses on Yu Lingfeng. The master has been acting so strangely recently, something bad is definitely going to happen. But the master also has the kind of temperament that likes to deal with everything silently by himself, so it is difficult for 11 Ju to trick him. Zihu felt a little tired and was not in the mood to deal with matters with Qianyins. Qianyins locked himself in the singing room every day and tried to write new songs. Sister Wan was still lamenting how Qianyin's personality of being lazy every day when he had time suddenly changed. He actually takes the initiative to write new songs. This probability is really comparable to the sun rising from the west. When I asked, I found out. Qianyins said, isn't it said that the music made by people when they are extremely sad is good music? I think Master Ono and I have practiced music for so long, and it's time for me to start writing songs. Maybe, Once it's released, it will be a national song that shocks the music world and breaks a lot of records. Sister Wan was quite shocked when she heard it at first, and she felt relieved. She thought that the deadwood she had bought and had been idle for so long could finally be used for carving. Who knows, after taking a look at the music score written by Jian Yins, Sister Wan realized why it is said that one must have talent to make music. Even if she casually rummaged through Liang Ye's trash can, she would still be able to find a work that was 10 times or 100 times better than Jian Yin's. Are you sure this is not a joke? Does this kind of thing deserve to be called music? Matching the song? Sister Wan suppressed her inner determination to beat up Jian Yin's, put on a fake smile and looked at Jian Yin's, patted his shoulder. Be good, be obedient, you rely on your face to make a living. Yes, you need to know your position, huh? Jian Yin suddenly felt horrified when he saw Sister Wan smiling so weirdly. Has he done anything? Why did Sister Wan look at him with that devilish look? Then, I'll take it to Master Ono to correct it. Jian Yin said weakly, turned around and left. Stop! Sister Wan shouted with a loud voice and scolded Jian Yin's. Jian Yin's paused and felt like his hair was starting to tremble. What's wrong, Sister Wan? Jian Yin's words were filled with vibrato. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 1116. Chapter 1116. I'm broken in love. Sister Wan gritted her teeth and came out word by word. Stop here, don't contaminate Liang Ye's eyes and make him doubt his ability to lead his disciples. Liang Ye was also his apprentice, and Kuiyaki released a new album with good results not long after signing the contract. Now his lyrics and composition skills are also steadily improving. But looking back at Jian Yin's, this wonderful flower, not only has there been no progress at all, but also has no self-awareness at all. At the beginning, in order not to undermine Jian Yin's self-confidence, Sister Wan always said some encouraging words and some unintentional compliments. But today, Sister Wan really can't stand it anymore. She must let Jian Yin's know for himself how bad the music he made is. Come here. Sister Wan gave a low growl, then grabbed Jian Yin's arm and pulled him back forcefully. Jian Yin's felt aggrieved and was still thinking about what Sister Wan said just now. She actually said that his music would pollute Liang Ye's eyes. He thought he was still their little angel, but now it seems that he has fallen out of favor in the company. The house leaked and it rained all night. His little heart could no longer bear the blow and was about to stop beating. Sister Wan caught Jian Yin's on the sofa and forced him to sit down. Then she walked to a piano full of anger and resentment and started playing the music Jian Yin's had just composed. Who would have known that Jian Yin's eyes would turn red after just playing a few words? Sister Wan hummed in her heart, thinking, now, you finally know how hard the music you made is to listen to, right? Sister Wan played a few more words full of anger, and Jian Yin simply started to slap her. His shoulders shook, and tears fell on the back of his hands. Sister Wan frowned. Wait, is this not right? Sister Wan stopped what she was doing, looked at Jian Yin's, and walked towards him. Jian Yin's eye circles were already red, and he was quite immersed in crying alone, completely ignoring Sister Wan's approach. Sister Wan reached out and patted Jian Yin's on the shoulder. Hey, brat, why are you so crazy? It's so touching, so sad. Jian Yin's raised his head and looked at Sister Wan with tearful eyes. Sister Wan was confused by him and didn't understand what he meant by being moved and sad. Sister Wan, don't you feel very sad? That is my hard work. I turned my countless worries into music. Jian Yin said it vividly. Sister Wan's face darkened and she twitched the corners of her mouth. She has seen shameless people, but never such a shameless one. Before Sister Wan could say anything, she was shocked by Qianyin's words. Qianyin's pulled up Sister Wan's sleeves and wiped her nose and tears. Sister Wan, WTF? Sister Wan, I'm heartbroken, I'm so sad. Sister Wan had a cold face, so he laid such a long foundation in front of him and forced her to play his music just to lead to such a passage. As she said, if someone really wanted to spend their whole life with Qianyin's, a unique flower, she would think that person would be a brave person? I guess it's the reincarnation of Ultraman? To save the world? 11 Ju finally thought about it. Qianyin's was stunned. Sister Wan, what do you mean? I am good looking, and I am so good to 11 Ju. I will find whatever figure he wants for him, and even keep it as a treasure for myself. I've given him 10 years of treasures. Why am I not good enough to him? Why should he say he's tired? End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1117. Chapter 1117. Search engines are bullying him. Perhaps, he doesn't like your figurines. Sister Wan really didn't understand how this couple got along. Or, someone gave him a better figurine? One that he has treasured for 20 years. Real. Zihu's eyes were filled with sparkling light. Sister Wan's mouth twitched in anger. With such an IQ, how could she still find a boyfriend? I'm kidding you, you idiot. Sister Wan thought about her determination to be a lady and suppressed the indecent word again. I said, have you never thought about what might have happened to 11 Ju recently? Sister Wan became serious. What's the matter? Qianyin's eyes widened and he began to think. This is something you have to ask yourself. If you really don't understand your own feelings and manage them, go online and learn some strategies on how to get along with your boyfriend. As Sister Wan talked, she felt more and more strange in her heart. She, an old woman who has been single for 30 years, is still here teaching them how to fall in love. You have done evil, and you will die young. Sister Wan rolled her eyes. Don't tell me this again. I'm very busy and don't have time to deal with your relationship. And your Weibo, stop posting random things on it. Yours fans are going to have a nervous breakdown due to you. Every day they wonder if their idol is being bullied in the company and is suffering from depression. Qianyin's nodded with tears in his eyes, very innocently, I know, I will take good care of my love life. Sister Wan left clutching her heart, wondering why someone with such a low IQ could find a boyfriend. She is such a talented and beautiful woman, but she is still single. She cried, God is unfair. After Qianyin's collected his emotions, he sent several text messages to 11 Ju, but 11 Ju did not reply. Qianyin's told herself over and over again to be patient, so she started calling Zihu again, but Zihu didn't answer. Qianyin's told herself over and over again to calm down, so Qianyin sent another video to Zihu, but Zihu still didn't answer. Catch. Qianyin's had a smile on his face, but in his heart. Hence, Qianyin's contacted 11 Ju like a barrage of text messages, phone calls, and video messages. Finally, 11 Ju answered his call. What's the matter? There was no modal particles, and Qianyin's felt 11 Ju's deep indifference. Qianyin's pressed her chest and suppressed her emotions. Zihu, when do you have time, can we meet? I've been very busy lately, let's talk about it later. When Qianyin's opened his mouth and was about to say something else, Zihu had already hung up the phone. Qianyin's looked up at the ceiling at a 45-degree angle and told himself not to cry. At this time, Qianyin's assistant came in and informed Qianyin's of his afternoon schedule. He had several variety shows to attend recently. To be honest, he actually didn't have time. But there is no way. If 11 Ju ignores him, he will not be in the mood to do anything. I see. Qianyin's replied weakly. Qianyins began to listen to Sister Wan's words and searched the internet for strategies and guides for couples to get along. Qianyins rolled his eyes inadvertently and saw various search recommendations: how to quickly get out of the shadow of love, what to do if you fall out of love, how to say goodbye to your last relationship. Qianyins. Search engines are bullying him. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 1118. Chapter 1118. Tomorrow's Kiss Scene. The Great Doctor has been filming for several months. The plot has reached the final stage, and the emotional drama between Yin Wu and Feng Zhuili has also reached its climax. Generally speaking, this kind of emotional scenes, kissing scenes, bed scenes, etc. are relatively common. Although this movie focuses on the heroine, the emotional scenes are not focused much. But when Xia Ying first read the script, she had already noticed the only kiss scene. Xia Ying initially discussed with the director and producer whether the kissing scene could be deleted or replaced with a borrowed scene. The result was an unhesitating rejection. They all hope to present the best effect, and kissing scenes are also a basic quality for actors and cannot be discussed at all. Unexpectedly, after they persuaded Xia Ying to retreat, Jun Chennai came back and said the same thing. A few people were dumbfounded. Did the two people discuss it? Of course, Jun Chennai couldn't convince them either. When Jun Chennai came out, Xia Ying leaned against the wall. When she saw him coming out, she nodded to him with bright eyes. Jun Chennai looked at Xia Ying from top to bottom. In the few months since she joined the crew, she has filmed a lot of fighting scenes, including desert fights, high-powered fights in the air, and water rolling in the mud. Despite all kinds of hardships, she didn't even frown at all. Her performance made Jun Chennai feel as if she had been filming for many years, and she had gone through many scenes in one go. Xia Ying is a talent when it comes to filming. Unfortunately, she probably isn't ready to develop in this direction. The conditions were difficult and the acting was hard, so Xia Ying naturally lost a lot of weight. The smallest size skirt she wore was still a little loose around her waist. The legs were slender and straight, as if they could be broken with just a little force. Xia Ying's face also seemed to be smaller. At first, she still had some baby fat, but now she is much thinner. From the look of her whole face, she didn't apply makeup on her face, and her hair still exuded wet vapor and fragrance, which was light. It must be like a chrysanthemum. Have you failed to convince them? The corridor was very quiet. Although Xia Ying's words were very soft, they fell into Jun Chennai's ears clearly. Jun Chennai curled his lips slightly, walked to Xia Ying, and leaned against the wall, side by side with Xia Ying. I didn't expect you to be one step ahead of me. Jun Chennai said, reaching into the pocket of his coat and taking out a pack of cigarettes. One was missing from it. Jun Chennai raised his eyes and looked at Xia Ying. Do you mind? Xia Ying frowned. I don't mind, but when did you learn to smoke? Jun Chennai already held the cigarette in his hand, tilted his head slightly, lit it, held it in his mouth, took it away again, and blew out a little smoke. Jun Chennai's facial features gradually became blurred under the smoke, and not long after, they became clear again. When Jun Chennai smokes, it gives people a sense of vicissitudes of life, like there is a story in that cigarette. Hunting to see Jun Chennai for more than a year, Jun Chennai has changed a lot. I don't remember, I smoke one when I'm bored. Jun Chennai laughed twice, turned sideways, and looked into Xia Ying's clear eyes. So, tomorrow's kiss scene. Xia Ying pursed her lips into a line, as if helpless. I just have to shoot. Originally, this was my first time filming. If I went on strike and refused to shoot, the director and others would think that I was relying on my fame to act like a big star. Then someone with a heart would you'll try to trick me again. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1119. Chapter 1119. Xia Ying and Jun Chenai have an affair. Jun Chenai held the cigarette in his hand, raised the corners of his lips slightly, and let out a short laugh, as if jokingly, "Does your family mind? Let me discuss it with him." Xia Ying was unsure when she said this. She felt that according to Yu Lingfeng's character, she would mind. But whether she cares or not, she can't escape this scene. Jun Chenai looked forward and narrowed his eyes. I remembered the stage play in high school. Jun Chenai's voice was like a whisper, as if he was talking to himself, but Xia Ying was close enough to hear it clearly. Somehow, Xia Ying seemed to understand what Jun Chenai was going to say in an instant. Xia Ying's body gradually became stiff, and she held her breath and listened to what he said. "Sometimes, I'm thinking that I didn't kiss you that time, but I was hallucinating. Because at that time, I liked you so much." After Jun Chenai finished speaking, the smile on the corner of his mouth became increasingly bitter. He always thought it was true that day, although he was in a daze and couldn't seem to remember anything. But as time went by, the memory became clearer, and he lost that memory inexplicably. If he really kissed Xia Ying, there was no way he wouldn't leave some memory behind. He liked her so much that, not to mention remembering her for the rest of his life, at least when he thought of her, it was as clear as yesterday. But, he couldn't remember anything. Xia Ying paused, not knowing how to answer Jun Chenai's words. After a moment of silence, Xia Ying felt that the air had become cold. "Let's go, I'll take you back." Jun Chenai calmed down his previous emotions and showed a warm smile to Xia Ying. Xia Ying nodded and walked side by side in the corridor with Jun Chenai. I don't know why, but the corridor that usually feels so short now seems to never end. The two of them remained silent, and the atmosphere became increasingly awkward. "Jun Chenai." Xia Ying suddenly called him. Jun Chenai responded calmly, still looking ahead. "Have your affairs in the Jun family been settled now?" Xia Ying asked tentatively. Xia Ying always felt that Jun Chenai's changes were influenced by the Jun family. With such a family and growing environment, Jun Chenai had to force himself to grow up. Not yet, but soon. Jun Chenai's words were light. Who is the person in the Jun family who framed Jun Chenai? After investigating for so long, there is still no clue. Jun Xianyan and Jun Liang, the most suspects, have not found any evidence of crime, so it will be even harder for the others. The enemy is in the light and he is in the dark, and his situation is always precarious. At the door of the room, Jun Chenai and Xia Ying whispered good night and then separated. Mo Wenwen, who came out to throw away garbage, happened to see the scene. Her eyes darkened, and she turned around to find Xiao Ran. "What are you talking about?" Xiao Ran curled her lips disdainfully while trimming her fingernails. "It's true, Sister Xiao Ran. I saw Jun Chenai come out of Xia Ying's room with my own eyes. Do you think they have an affair? Isn't it possible that Xia Ying was going behind her boyfriend's back with Jun Chen? Are you having an affair?" Mo Wenwen tugged on Xiao Ran's sleeve excitedly. Xiao Ran smiled calmly throughout the whole process and ignored it. "Sister Xiao Ran, why don't you believe it? Give me some time, I will be able to secretly photograph the evidence of their affair, and then post it on the internet. Won't Xia Ying's saintly persona collapse?" End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 1120. Chapter 1120. What happened to Yu Lingfeng? Xiao Ran stretched out his finger, pointed at Mo Wenwen's forehead, and said angrily, "You are just trying to catch the wind. Xia Ying's boyfriend is so handsome, would she have an affair with Jun Chenai?" Besides, what if Xia Ying I like Jun Chennai and I agreed to him in the first place, why are you waiting until now? Xiao Ran was the fastest at the moment and actually revealed the answer to what is now an unsolved mystery in the entertainment industry: does Jun Chennai like Xia Ying? Mo Wenwen's eyes were wide open, a little unbelievable. Sister Xiao Ran, are you saying that Jun Chennai really liked Xia Ying before? Xiao Ran paused and realized that she had said the wrong thing, but now that she had said it out, she had no intention of hiding it, so she simply made it clear to Mo Wenwen. Not only that, Jun Chennai is also obsessed with her now, isn't he? There was an evil smile on Xiao Ran's lips. Otherwise, why would Jun Chennai star in this movie? Who doesn't know how proud Jun Chennai was in the business world last year, which is admirable. But he didn't take advantage of the good news. Then to develop his own career, he came over and made the movie first. Wasn't this a waste of his time? He wanted me to watch it, because he just wanted to make the movie as soon as possible so that everyone would not keep staring at this piece of cake. You doubt Xia Ying's ability as a heroine. Besides, you forgot that I want to be the heroine, and Jun Chennai jumped over to help Xia Ying fight against me. Jun Chennai only accepted this movie because of Xia Ying. Mo Wenwen was already stunned. Of course, Jun Chennai and his family have so many things going on, and it's too late for him to deal with them. His biggest priority now is his family and his career. Making movies is a waste of time. But for Xia Ying, he must put this movie the movie was filmed, otherwise it would have been unresolved, which would have delayed Xia Ying, and also caused a group of people to compare with Xia Ying. Not long after the incident with me happened some time ago, he jumped out and said he wanted to come back. Don't be too purposeful. Powerful. Mo Wenwen was so shocked that she didn't know what to say. Then, does Xia Ying know this? Xiao Ran sneered, how can someone as smart as Xia Ying not guess it? But even if she knows, she has to pretend not to know. Otherwise, it will be bad for both of them. After all, there is no relationship between them. Mo Wenwen murmured to herself, I see. When Xia Ying returned to the room, she turned on the light and found Yu Lingfeng's shoes. Has Yu Lingfeng returned? Xia Ying thought this, and when she turned around, she saw someone lying on the sofa. Xia Ying tiptoed towards Yu Lingfeng. Yu Lingfeng seemed to be asleep. His face was white and cold, with long eyelashes hanging down. Underneath was a tall nose and lightly pursed thin lips. Yu Lingfeng's lips had no color, just a faint hint of red. Xia Ying approached Yu Lingfeng, took a blanket and covered him. However, Xia Ying's hand accidentally touched the back of Yu Lingfeng's hand, and she suddenly felt that the temperature was a little abnormal. Yu Lingfeng's body temperature is lower than that of normal people, but the touch just now made Xia Ying feel as if she had touched an ice cube that had just been taken out of the freezer of the refrigerator. Why did Yu Lingfeng become so cold? Xia Ying put her hand on his forehead, and the cold touch made Xia Ying shrink back. Xia Ying put her hand under Yu Lingfeng's nose again, her breathing still steady. What happened to Yu Lingfeng? End of this chapter.